Everybody doing? I'm eating a granola bowl. I got it from Urban Foxes. It's Greek yogurt, granola, cranberries, and strawberries. Got to get them antioxidants in. Anyways, we're going to continue with our lesson that we have working with Express. Um, so far, what we've done is we have we built out our server in this app.js, and along with the server, we also have set up some routing. Okay, uh, we have a route for the home page. It's localhost 3000, and we have a route for the characters. And we didn't finish the route for the episodes, but we can do that as well. Um, but we have a route for our episodes. And as you can see here, um, in using this, it can scale pretty big, right? This is a very small data set that we're working with, okay? And we're using what we can to uh, help us create dynamic pages, if you will. Um, and we're able to access the data from a URL, an API that we have here, the sample APIs. So we have access to it. Um, and it's working. But what we want to do is we want to fix this up, or we want to make this our project scalable and take the task and kind of break them up into smaller tasks. And there's a term for that which I just learned not too long ago. It's microservices. I knew what it was, but I didn't know the term for it. The term is microservices. At any rate, what microservices do, it'll take your project, say like what we have here, and it'll take the tasks or services and break them up into smaller pieces and send them somewhere else. So, certain files can handle it uh, in that location. Okay. So there's more we can do with this, clearly, because we have, excuse me, our localhost 3000, our home page. We have our characters page. There it is. So we have our characters as well. And there's some stuff that we could do with characters and everything. But what we want to do is we want to be able to move these services to their own location. And so that way, our app.js file isn't extremely long. Okay. So let's get into that. Let's do that. What we're going to do to start off is we're going to create a file, and before we create the file, we're going to create a folder. Okay. And we're going to call this folder routes. So this folder is going to handle all of the routes that we have. Because so far as you see, we have, our home route. We have our characters route, and we have our episodes route. Okay. And when I speak of routes or URLs, this is what I'm referring to. This path, we're routing to slash episodes, or we're routing to characters. One second. All right. So let's hop into this now. I hope my video's still playing. It should be. Yeah, looks like it is. All right. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder. It's going to be out here in my root folder, and I'm going to name this folder routes, routes. Okay. So here I have a routes folder. And again, you can do that from right in here inside your terminal or Git Bash if you want to. I always recommend doing that over doing it in VS Code, so that way you'll know how to handle the command line, because no matter what you do, whether you want to stay in front end, back end, what have you, you're going to have to know how to navigate the command line. So please, if you can practice here, working on the command line, paying attention to your location where you are, and work from there. Because again, I'm not perfect with that. You saw that a couple videos ago. But if I do a PWD right here, okay, I see that I'm in Node. Cool. I want to go into my Futurama app, so I'm gonna say CD. Well, before I do that, I'm gonna type ls, and I'm gonna make sure that my Futurama app is in there, and it is. And I'm gonna say CD Future, spell it correctly, Futurama app. Okay, in there, when I type ls, you can see I have my app.js, my node modules, package.lock.json, all this stuff that's already listed here. Okay, and there's my routes folder, which I just created. Okay, so in my routes folder, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to create a file rather, and it's just going to be router.js. So I'm going to say touch, because that's the command for creating a file. Again, routes slash router.js. And I'm saying routes slash router.js because when I look here, I'm in my Futurama app directory. That's where I'm located. So I need to go into the routes folder and then create a router.js file. If you need to do it from Visual Studio Code, that's fine. Again, I'd like to do stuff from the terminal. Okay. So now we're ready to kind of start moving stuff over, okay? So before I move everything over, I like to handle my import and exports to make sure that they're working correctly, okay? So first thing I'm going to do before I write up this router.js file, now that I have it here, I'm going to import it. And I'm going to do that below this const. Okay, so I'm going to import router.js. And to do that, I'm simply going to say const router is going to get require. This is a string. I'm going to say dot slash, so it means in this directory or from the root directory. I'm going to go to routes slash router. And this gives me access to the router. Okay. And then what I like to do at the very bottom, right here, right above my listen, I like to say app.use, and this is going to be a slash, and then comma, router. And what this is saying, hey, this file, whenever you see a slash, we're going to use it. We're going to use the router.js file when we have the slash for our path. Okay. That's what this .use method does is, hey, use this path. Well, when you're using this path, rather, we're going to use this router, get the information from router. Okay. Now, you see I do that. Those are the two things I need to do. I say const router gets require routes slash router. And then I say app.use router. When you come over here, if you started up your server for your project, you'll see this big error right here. And it says app crashed. App.use requires a middleware function. What is a middleware function? Well, a middleware function is a function that kind of helps something from that helps something out in this main file. And there's some built-in middleware functions, okay, in the Express library and Node in general, but we're going to build our own here. And that's what this router.js is going to be. So when you see app.use and it says requires a middleware function, it means, hey, I got to get something from somewhere in order for this to work, okay? And I like to do this first every time because a lot of times we'll get this error right here and we freak out and we don't know what to do. So how do we fix this error? Okay. So yeah, please, you got to read your errors. Don't be afraid of the errors. Read them, and it kind of tells you what's happening, what needs to be done. So it throws a new type error. App.use requires a middleware function. All right, so let's fix that. And the way we fix that is we're going to come over here to our router.js. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first import Express because I need Express for this. So const Express gets require, require Express. And then I need something from Express. I need something particular. And I showed it in the docs. We kind of went over it. We glanced over it, or we glossed over it, rather. I'm going to say const router is going to get express dot capital R router. We're getting this router object from router. Okay. And the last thing that we need to do to fix the error is I need to export router.js. So I say module.exports with an S. That's going to get router. And that's it. That fixes that error. So when I come back over here to my terminal, I see that my server is back running again, no errors. Okay. So that's how you imported X. Okay. So you see what I did in app.js. I imported router. I said require router, imported it here. Const router gets require route slash router. And then I said app.use the slash for router. And then I came over here to my router.js file. And with these three lines, I fixed the error. Const express requires express. Const router gets express.router. And then module.exports router. And that took care of that. All right. So now that we got that, we can start migrating things over. Okay. And it's going to be real simple. If we look at, let's go back to expressjs.com. Just want to be slow today. And that's what we're doing. Oh, yeah, there we go. If I go to the API reference and I go to router, let's look at the methods that we have here. We have a router.get method, okay, and that's what we're going to use. We've already seen that. Um, router.param, etc., etc. But what we're going to do is essentially we're going to take these tasks that we did in app and we're going to move them over to our router.js file. Okay, so the app.js file is going to get a little skinnier. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this fetch that we created and we're going to move that over to router. So I'm just going to simply cut that and paste it in router. So now this router.js is going to handle the fetch calls. And the next thing I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take this app.use express.static. I'm going to move that over to router as well. So cut that and paste that. Oh, but this needs to be router.use now. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is this home page. All of this goodness right here. I'm going to cut that, paste it over here in router. And instead of app.get, that's going to be router.get. And I can come over here right now and do a quick test to make sure that this is working. So I simply come back over here to the browser, go back to localhost 3000, and there it is. It's not broken. So then guess what I'm going to do after that? Come back over here to app.js. I'm going to get characters. Take all of that. Cut that. Paste it over here in router.js. And again, I have app.get. I need to rename that to router.get. Come back over to app. We didn't even fix this episodes, but I'm going to take this episodes as well. Cut that. Come over here to router.js. Paste that in there and rename this to router. And that's it. So now I have a file that just handles the routes. And this is our very first I would say that's our very first microservice. Because now what app.js does, this is just a point file that's going to, that our node project is talking to. This is the thing that loads everything up. Recall back in package.json, we set app.js to be our main file. So when we start up the server and we go to localhost 3000, localhost 3000 is going to point directly to this app.js file. Get out of the way. And from this app.js file, it says, okay, I'm going to build out the server in here. And we're going to use, we're going to import the router. We're going to import Express. And we're going to set up a port. And I'm going to say, hey, we're going to use EJS as our review engine. And I need you to listen here. And then it points everything, all the routing to router. So now the load that app.js had previously, having to do all these different things, it gets reduced significantly, because all app.js does really just kind of does the top level configuration. And then it sends everything over here, all the routing, it sends it over here to router.js. And so router.js does what? Builds out the routes. As you can see here. And let's build on this. First, I'm going to fix episodes. So this will kind of be like a review of what we did in the last video, because episodes doesn't have a page yet. So let's do that. We are going to first go to our views in pages, and we're going to create a file called episodes.ejs. So touch views / pages / episodes.ejs. There we go. So there's my episodes.ejs. Real simple. And let me close out this. Close out characters. I need that header and footer. All right. I go to episodes.ejs. Header and footer. What am I talking about? I do need to hear an episode.js. And how do we get it? Again, I'm going to open up this particular EJS tag, which handles the outputs. I'm going to say include as a string, .. partials / header. I suppose I could do a test right now to see if that needs a semicolon anymore. I'm going to make main.main #main, make a main element, and make an h2. And in here, I'm going to say name. That way I won't have to hard code this stuff. And here's my footer. Oh, what is that? Don't forget your hyphen here. Since we're outputting, we're basically running an EJS function. So we need to have the hyphen here, okay? And here, we're just printing out whatever is in our object as name, or whatever our name property is. So there we use the equal sign. But there we go, equal, or include rather, sorry. Nope. Parcels / footer. And if it breaks, then now let me know. Okay, I need my semicolon there. Okay, so this is the start. Got something working here. And once you get this, pause the video if you need to. Make sure it looks like mine. I'm going to go back over here to router. And here are in episodes where I'm response.in data received. Again, if I go to episodes right now, localhost 3000 / episode, data received. Okay. We're going to up, right? What we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, response.render. And what are we going to render? The path is going to be, again, pages slash episodes, because that's what we named it, episodes.ejs. So that's what we put here, whatever we named it. And then this object, which would be, and I'll just name this episodes. I'll say Futurama episodes. The name, good news, everyone. Here are some. And then I'll just send the data. And as you can see here again, with data, this written singularly is the same thing as the data property and the value of data. And if the property and the value share the same, then we can just write it once. Thank you, JavaScript. Okay, now we got that. I'm going to come back over here to my browser. Make sure you're localhost 3000/episodes. If you are, refresh it. And it worked. So, one, I get my page up, but then two, it also lets me know that with EJS, I don't have to do semicolons anymore. And I'm glad about that. So that's one less thing I got to do. One less thing I got to worry about. Good times. Okay. And so now we got that. We can fix up this episode so we can right now, because right now it's just saying, good news, everyone. Here's some episodes. Oh, did I change? Oh. That's right. Yeah, I need to fix that because the name is in my header. That's why it's displaying twice. So here, I'll change this H2 and I'll say, and I'm back in episodes.js. All the episodes that you need to watch. The rest are meh. They're really not. They're really good, every last one of them. But, you know, come over here and refresh. All right. And so now I'm ready to get the data. I need to know what the data looks like. Oh, so when I come over here and I see the episodes, we see the number, the title, the writers, the original air date, description. And there's a lot of them. Okay, so let's see, where do we start? Ooh-wee. Okay, so there's my data with all of my episodes. Cool. So I think I'll do the number, the title, the writers, and I can do all this stuff. Okay, so here we go. Let's do that. Underneath our H2 right here, I'm going to make a section element. So I'm going to say section dot section hashtag section. All right. And I will do, for each one, I'll make a div. They don't have images, so I'm not going to use figures. So I'll make a div. Oh, but for each one, I said it myself. So I caught myself right there. So for each one, I'm going to make a div. So again, if I'm saying for each one, then that lets me know I need to loop through the data. Okay. And I called it data here in response.render. I could have called it something. I could have said episodes gets data. So I could say, as a matter of fact, I'll do that for this one. Episodes is going to be the data that's coming from here. Okay. So you can see here, we can name it whatever we want to. I tend to just go with data because that's the same that's here. And that way, again, I don't have to do a, a property value pair, just me being lazy. But I could name it here if I want to. And that's what I'm going to do with this one, just to show you that you can do it. So episodes data, come back over here to episodes. And I'm going to say here, I need to go into my EJS. I'm going to say episodes for each, and I'll name it episode. I'm just kind of breaking what I normally do just to show you how it works. Open up my curly brace and close that EJS tag. And then I'm going to open an EJS tag around this pair of curly braces and parentheses. Okay. And so, like I said, for each one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a div. Excuse me. So I make a div element. And inside of this div element, I will, let's see what we'll do. I'll put the title first. So I'll make an H3. And inside the H3, I will make a, we'll say episode dot, it is called title, right? Yep. Episode dot title. Like so. And then I will have, I guess, I'll make an unordered list for the writers and the original air date and the number. So here I'll make a UL. And inside this UL, I'm not doing any classes. I'm not doing a lot of that right now. I mean, I'm doing it for like these large containers. But right here, I'm just putting in some HTML, not worrying about styling it up right now. You can do that on your own. Or maybe later we can do that, but I want to focus on getting the content on the page. So I'll make a UL, and then I'll make a LI. And this first one will be episode.number. Make sure you're opening and closing your EJS tags. Please make sure you're doing that. You see I'm doing it inside of the LI. Okay. And then make another LI. This one will be the writers. So episode.writers. Episode.original air date. And then that's it for that. And I'm going to make a P tag outside of the UL. So outside of the UL, I'm going to make a P tag. And then the P tag will be episode.description. And see, notice how this div container here is inside of this for each loop. So you can see here that the power of using a view engine like EJS is that you can write HTML markup inside of JavaScript. So it kind of combines the two of these languages together to be able to build this out. All right. And without a view engine, you would not be able to do that. And from the view engines, I believe, I'm not certain because I wasn't in the room with them, but I believe that's probably where the concept of React.js came from, because with React.js, you do combine JavaScript with HTML, and they call it JSX. So it's a nice hybrid between HTML and JavaScript, and quite frankly, it's a lot more readable and manageable and powerful than view engines. But there it is. So that's the cool thing about the view engines. Again, we can write HTML inside of a JavaScript file using EJS or again some other uh, view engine. All right, so now I got that. If I come over here and I refresh, and for whatever reason my browser is taking its time to load, oh, and I got an error. This site cannot be reached. Why can you not be reached? Let's see. I got an error somewhere. I think I may know where and why. Let's see. API. Oh, is that down? SampleAPIs.com. Let's find out. Let's go to Sample APIs. Maybe they're down. If they're down, then oh no, what are we gonna do? Close you up. Oh, looks like, oh, wait, there we go. Oh, yeah, if you go to like, yeah, the API list, they have a lot of stuff. So I've tinkered with a lot of these. So guess what you're going to have to do? Huh? You're going to have to, let's see, go to endpoints. You're going to have to make your own. Okay, there is episodes. All right. So that's fine. Seems to be working okay. To do a client request. Let me refresh this. Or maybe let's see. Let me start this back up. Control C, npm run dev. All right, we're still running. Go back to localhost 3000. Okay, that's working fine. If I say characters, okay, that's fine. Cool. If I say episodes, okay, there it is. Oh, so the description, I don't have that here. So I need to fix that, and I want to edit this stuff so I can know what this means. Okay, so I see why I misspelled it. Instead of episode description, notice nothing showed up because there is no property in here titled description. Is DESC, which stands for description. So you see that nothing showed up. Now when I change it to DESC, come back over here and refresh, and there goes my descriptions. Okay, cool. And so now, yeah, I want to fix this up. So I'll say, so in here I can again modify this. So the episode number, and I can say season dash episode. Say here, writers. Let's hope they got paid. And then here, the original air date. And right here, I'll write description. So just templating it so to get it to, make it a little more understandable for the reader. And so this is cool, right? It's cool because I, for one, would not want to have to go and do all this inside of HTML, meaning have an HTML file where I have to go and manually insert all this data in. I would not want to do that. Put a space right there. I certainly would not want to do that. I would much rather have a template. And again, using that for each loop, we can loop through it and have the HTML right there. So that way I don't have to manually write out the title of the episode and which episode it is, who the writer is, and the original air date. No, you just give me the data. Okay. And then I can use that data to handle what's being displayed on the browser. So that's cool. So there's a lot in this video. We'll pause right here. And I'll let you catch up if you need to. So we're going to continue on with the routing because we started this microservice out the router, but we're not quite done with it because maybe I don't want to look at every single entry in episodes. Maybe let's say if I come back over here to episodes, maybe I just want to look at this second episode. So what would happen if I said episode /2? How can I get just one episode and display that one particular episode? Or same thing with characters. If I went to come over here and I come over here to characters, maybe I don't want every single character. Maybe I just want whoever character 3 is, Bender, the greatest. Okay. How could I just get that? So we'll look at how we do that in the next episode. But if you've gotten this far, pat yourself on the back. You've done a lot. To my understanding, this is some pretty high level stuff right here. And so I don't want you to take for granted that you've gotten this far. Okay. And I know that it's, probably a big struggle. You lost it a lot of times. Oh, coach, you type so fast. All that stuff. Because I'm on the keyboard a lot and have been for the past 30 years. But, if you got this far, give yourself some credit, okay? That you didn't give up, you didn't quit. Maybe something's broken. Fix it if it's broken. Whatever is broken can be fixed, okay? Message. You just gotta want to fix it. Message. But yeah, that's that for this video. We'll build on the microservices and make them a little even more granular to help us out so that even our router.js file isn't as big as it is. Okay, so we'll do that on the other side of this video. If you enjoy it, please, subscribe, share it, comment on it, say, hey man, these videos are awesome. Okay, I want to see those comments. Awesome video. All that stuff, all the emojis. Give me all of them. Not all of them. No. Give me some cool emojis though. But But yeah, do all that stuff so I can take myself out to dinner one of these days. All right. And I will see you on the other side of this video.